All right. So our next story for today, it's no secret that nobody wants to work anymore. Did you guys hear about the anti-work moderator interview on Fox? Did either of you guys hear about this or see this?
I hadn't heard about it, so you brought it to my attention.
Okay, so let me just paint a picture for you since you don't know, and for any of our listeners out there that don't. Okay, so several years ago, there was someone who started a subreddit called Anti-Work, talking about how, most of our lives are basically, ruled by corporations, and we're tyrannized by bosses, essentially. Fast forward to 2020 and the pandemic and the Great Resignation, and suddenly people are resigning in droves. And this little tiny subreddit that, is kind of just like a blip on the radar, all of a sudden has 1.7 million members, encouraging each other to quit their jobs, sharing stories about telling their bosses to go fuck themselves, sharing screenshots of how to talk to bosses, giving information about how to protect yourself from false firings and knowing your rights, things like that. So it becomes this big movement, kind of bolstering the Great Resignation, and as such, kind of gets a lot of negative ire. So Fox News, the famous bastion of progressive ideals, reaches out to the anti-work subreddit and goes, "We would love for one of you to come on and talk to us." Okay, so the subreddit, it's run by moderators, and they go, "This is a bad idea," but one brave soul. A woman by the name of Doreen Ford goes, "No, I started this subreddit many years ago, and people deserve to know my story." So she went on to Fox News and basically got her ass beat by this interviewer by just giving the most dipshitted answers you could imagine. Didn't prepare. Did the interview after just waking up in her fucking pajamas from her parents' basement, where she admitted that she works about 20 hours a week walking dogs, and that she really wants to be a philosopher. There was a huge fallout. Now everybody is like, holy fuck, this is the face of the movement. So my question for you is, based on what you guys have heard and what I've told you, do you think such a movement, the momentum gained from the anti-work thing, do you guys think that it can survive this disastrous Fox News interview? Did Doreen give conservatives their welfare queen for the modern day? What do you guys think?
Well, I am a subscriber to the anti-work subreddit. And I initially found it because of this amazing story of a guy who quit after he was just treated really shittily by his boss, and then just kept charging him more and more money to go back to work or whatever. But that's really all I know of it. This woman going on Fox News, I mean, that alone kind of shows her level of intelligence, I think. I don't know if she represents the entire subreddit or the entire group of people who are kind of realizing what work can be or should be over these past few years where everyone was forced to stay in.
Yeah. Lauren, what about you? What do you think?
I feel like people in the anti-work community, maybe shouldn't be surprised by this demonstration of work ethic. It's in kind of the name. I'm brand new to this concept, I will say, but just the name alone, anti-work. Hell yeah, that bitch's gonna be in pajamas. Yeah, that makes complete sense. She, I don't know.
I love that. You're yeah, that's par for the course. What else is this movement?
What did you expect?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anti-work.
Sign me up for that, please. Yes. Yeah. Make it more acceptable.
This woman doesn't work. She's living the dream. She's fulfilling her anti-work destiny. And I mean, if anything, yes, she got her 15 minutes of fame. So what's wrong with that?
So I guess my question is, I don't know if you guys totally answer. Do you think the movement survives this, or and already it's fractured? People started a new group called Work Reform to really kind of be all right, we to Lauren's credit, they fucked up. They called themselves anti-work. They threw on Doreen, or Doreen threw herself on, basically. She was I don't know. She thought it was a pumpkin and it was really a grenade, and she threw herself on top of it. That is not an analogy that is normal or acceptable.
Very visual, though.
Yeah, pumpkin.
So, I mean, does their movement survive? What is their movement? Is just not working ever, or because you don't get something for nothing? I
think I support the movement if it's let's go to 4-day work weeks, please. Yeah. Let's not value it or wrap up our entire identity in our jobs. Let's have fulfilling things outside of work. I think I support the movement probably in some of the things that the bullet points under that, but I hope it can continue. It's going to be hard to like find some good leadership with it, maybe.
Yeah. So let me tell you guys like a little bit more about. I kind of gave you the Reader's Digest version, but okay. According to the news article, a 30-year-old dog walker who advocates for the anti-work movement went viral following her car crash interview with Fox News host Jesse Waters after she called laziness a virtue and aspired to move on from dog walking to teaching philosophy. Doreen fumbled to explain the group's ideology as Waters mocked the movement and its 1.7 million followers. Waters asked Ford what a solid workday would look like in an ideal society, prompting Doreen to proffer her own job as a dog walker as an example. I have a 20 to 25 hour work week, which I think is fairly good, she says. So I guess my question to you guys is like, what do you think? Like, what is like the ideal work week length? Like 30 hours, 35 hours? Like, if you had to like, I mean, if you're thinking 4-day work week, are you thinking like 10-hour days, or like we keep the 8-hour days and just get like an extra third day in there?
I don't know, man. I love the idea of a 4-day work week, working 6 hours a day. So that's right around that 20, 25 hour mark, man. And honestly, like, I don't know. When I work at home, I work from home. I work probably more than I ever used to before. And I don't actually. I'm a terrible example of it because I'm like one of those random people who like actually I kind of like my job like in some weird like masochistic kind of way. But you know what? I'm going to totally backtrack and just say that I think work gives people a sense of meaning in a like if you let it and if you allow it to. And
for some people, yeah. I mean, some people. The college kid at McDonald's probably isn't deriving much meaning from it.
That's a great point. I don't know, but so I think some amount of like even just getting home and being tired, I think is useful in some like deep primal sense. I actually really think so. Like, because I've been like basically unemployed for large periods of time, and I'll say it's like it's kind of exhausting in this like weird hazy like life flies by kind of way where you're like constantly distracting yourself to just have anything meaningful happen in your life. And like in those days, like I would just go for a fucking walk and just get tired somehow. Like if I just get tired, then when I come home and I sit down, I'll at least feel like I've accomplished something because I'm sore. Like I don't have like stagnant energy just waiting for a release. So I don't know. Maybe this is like a total sidestep from your original question.
That makes a lot of sense. Like there was a period of I think around 9 months that I didn't work at all, and I felt exactly the same things. You know, like if you're, I mean, on paper it sounds really cool, right? Like no work, sit around, do whatever you want, go party, you know, do whatever, watch TV. But it gets old really fast, you know. So I think you need something to do.
I don't know. That's something I would love to have more experience with, like not working.
You're like,
that was
privileged fuck.
I think the longest I ever was like unemployed was like maybe 2 months. It's the longest since I've been 15. Like, I would love to dip into that life for a little.
I wonder who's privileged in this situation.
I need more education, more research in this area to have an opinion.
I was thinking when you guys said this, I was thinking that like I have not been unemployed for a long period of time since I started working at like, I think 14, 15 years old. But I forgot that when I came back from Lebanon, I had, I think like from, I don't know, August until when does school vacation start for most people? It's like January, June, July. It's like June.
May for college.
Yeah. So no, it's like, yeah, then I think I had like about a 6 month, about like a 5 month stint, I think. And I totally forgot about that. And I don't know about you guys. I had a great fucking time. Like I was just bouncing around. I was like fucking around in Chicago and Miami and like Toronto.
Well, if you have money to burn.
I spent every last cent I had in a stupid way. And then I needed to get a job immediately. And I took like the first job I could find in South Korea.
Yeah, when I'm describing unemployment, I'm not describing backpacking across the North America. Okay, I'm saying like sitting on my fucking ass at home, like applying for jobs or not, whatever. But like still. But I don't know. I do think that there's a value in like some amount of work. Like I totally like I think I'm with the idea. I think it can recover. So I think the anti-work thing like can recover. I think renaming work reform, that's fucking brilliant. Like it's like how defund the police was like a brilliant, shocking concept for a lot of people, and it got people to stop and talk about it. And we're like, okay, what the fuck is this? But then when you press people on it, like even people who were like originally supporters of the name of the movement of defund the police, eventually were like, this name doesn't even work. Like people, like the common people don't even really like the idea. And I think like there's probably a similar thing here where anti-work is just a little too jarring to like a foundational concept of like, we're just too, I mean, if it's just being indoctrinated or enculturated to think that like work is meaningful, like I certainly feel like this, like, you know, it's like the idle hands make for hairy palms. I forgot what they, what the
Idle Hands of the Devil's Playground. Is that what it is? That was a great movie from the 90s, I think. Idle Hands.
That must be what I'm thinking
Well,
of.
I mean, so it's interesting though, because, yeah, Shay, I feel like I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't know if you guys think about this as well, but I think this is might just be like my personal thought. I think something else that like further is like detrimental to it, at least from like a progressive standpoint, is like not only did they find Doreen Ford, according to this, like she's also a trans woman. And I think that like they're just going to try to like lump this up into this like whole here is like everything the left represents, like identity politics, gender identity, like laziness as well. And then it was also revealed that she was a sex offender. So it's like it just keeps getting like I feel like the conservatives feel like they just struck gold. And like I wonder if, and I could be like dead wrong, but like I do wonder if like they found their poster child for what they think when they hear the word millennial. Like it's gone from snowflake to like Doreen, the dog walking philosopher. And I don't know, like, does that make it, what do you guys think of like this like extra information, these like additional details?
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
because yeah, that is like, I would imagine that's what striking gold is like for a conservative news host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that when like what's his name, Jesse Waters found out that she was going to be the guest, I think he came. I think he was like, "Fuck, I'm so hard right now."
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Yeah.
It sucks when you find out that like these ideals that you really believe in, you find out that someone else really believes in them, like hell yeah, and then you're like, oh, that person like diddles kids. You're like, shit. You know, it's always disappointing to know that your values align with people who do terrible things. So, I mean, yeah, how does anyone recover? It's like the bad apple spoiling the bunch.
Yeah. So I guess I know we have like, I think one more story to talk about today. So I guess I'll just ask, like, has any of this extra information moved you at all, or like caused you to budge? Or are you still where you were when you started? And I told you about this breaking story.
I think work definitely overall needs reform. The like sensational like news that this interesting character was like the face of it is unfortunate, but the foundational views they have are probably sound. And I think people are just realizing kind of like work situations and standards are not ideal and that they need to be changed. But yeah, it sucks that it was represented by someone who's so easy to attack.
Yeah. And maybe it took this moment for the movement to have a moment on TV, whether it was a bad one or a good, any press is like good press. Maybe I didn't know about this movement until the story. So there's a silver lining somewhere, I think.
Great. I'm glad.
She's like drafting up her resignation letter. Like,
just like like a metaphor for what you're kind of describing, Lauren. It's like I didn't know there was such a beautiful ship like the Titanic until it sank. It's like, does that help the Titanic? Not really. No. It's like,